So we're live, everyone.
You can escape outside for a little mini-vation.
Yeah.
Yes, I love seeing your background when you're in the outside and everything. So that's awesome.
Yes.
So welcome everyone to our business breakfast club, and Wednesdays are interview days. So we're going to hop into that right away. Usually we do introductions, but if you want to do an intro, you can go under the video and you can put your intro in the comments. That way everybody will get to know who was on the calls. And if you're watching live, I will check if there are questions. And I will also share those, or somebody else can read them and share them with our special guest today, who is Karla. So excited about this. I love this topic. I'm sure you're all excited to find out about the topic from today. So we're going to start right away with the interview. And I will ask a couple questions. Then Imie or anyone else on the call, you can jump in with questions. I'm sure we're going to learn a lot today. So Karla, first, I wanted to say that we discussed this a little bit, and I had to say this made me think of Tina Turner's song, and I'm terrible at singing. Okay, so what's love got to do with it? Because I had that in my mind when we were chatting last time. What's the brain got to do with it? Got to do with it. So Karla, if you would take a couple minutes just to introduce yourself. What is your business? What is your background?
Hi there, good morning. My name is Karla. I am actually live here at 5:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time because I am in Alberta. And it's fine because this is normally kind of when I get up anyways, so it's great to be with other women across Canada. I am a registered nurse. Also, I'm a certified brain health coach. My company is called Radically Transform Coaching. And I help women learn about their brains, learn how it works, and get it working right for you.
Awesome. Isn't that a good introduction, Imie?
Yeah. She's not even. She didn't have the practice with us.
Yeah, exactly. She didn't practice with this. I guess she won't need the course or anything on that. So just a couple questions to it so we can get to that topic of the relation between brain health and weight loss, which is everybody's here wondering about that, I'm sure, as it applies to other things as well. But what about brain health? Like you would say, we asked you what we're talking about, what matters to you, what you wanted to share with women. Why brain health? Why is that so important to you?
Or to us?
Yes, why should it be important to us? Yeah. Exactly.
Well, there's 4 critical reasons why brain matters. One, your brain is involved in everything that you do. So, sorry, I've got my notes. I'm kind of, if you see me looking down, I got my notes.
Notes are good.
It decides the actions you take every day, manages your thoughts, how healthy you are, or whether or not your cravings are under control. So for instance, it decides when you want to get married or unfortunately get divorced. It decides how you manage your money. It helps you successful at work. It's your brain that determines how you're going to run your life. So that's the first reason. Second reason is when your brain works right, then you're going to be working and living right. Your healthy reactions, decisions benefit you. So with a healthy brain, you're happier, you're physically healthier because you're making better decisions. You're wealthier because you're making better decisions because your brain is working right, and you're more successful in everything that you do. Okay. Number 3, when your brain is troubled, then you're going to have trouble in your life. So for instance, your bad choices, the things that you do in your life, complicate everything. When your brain is unhealthy for whatever reason, say it's brain injuries, drug abuse, overweight, unable to sleep, you're sadder, you're sicker, you're poor, and less successful. So it's a direct correlation in that way. And finally, with all of that, seems kind of negative, but you can change your brain and enhance your life. So following brain healthy guidelines can give you a fresh start. Falling in love with your brain don't just change your life. It actually will change the future generations because you're going to be motivated to do things that are healthy for you, then for your family, and for every generation that's past you. So it's crucial. We're in a war for the health of our brain. Everywhere you go, somebody's trying to sell you bad food or negative messages, you know, do this or eat that, things like that, that are not healthy for you. And if you're not taking care of your brain, or what we call it being a brain warrior, then it's easy for your weight to balloon out of control, which will actually shrink your brain. So as your weight goes up, the size and function of your brain decreases. So this is why I kind of going back to the second and third points, is that you're not making the better decisions when you're not taking care of yourself. So those are the 4 big reasons why brain matter works.
So
Wow.
it's interesting point that you said that the size of your brain shrink when your weight goes up. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I took my training through Dr. Imie, which is from Imie University in Irvine, California, and he's a board certified psychiatrist. And at their clinics in the United States, they have what's called brain specs. So they will scan the individual's brain to learn how to, you know, best take care of them. Well, here in Canada, there's not a lot of places that will do specs or that type of scanning. And so he teaches how to do that intervention without having to do the spec. And so in terms of that, he actually calls that the dinosaur brain, because your brain is shrinking as your weight goes up because you're not taking care of it. But good news, we can change that. So
Exactly. That's the part that I wanted to hear a little bit more about. So just how do you specifically, I know we just talked about it, but specifically how would we sum up the link now between weight loss and brain health, to just sum it up, how this makes them relate directly?
Okay. So as I said before, as your weight goes up, the size and function of your brain decreases. So if you don't get your weight under control, then eventually it'll be more and more difficult to use your own judgment to get healthy. Fat on your body and is not just a storage place for excess calories. It actually releases toxic chemicals that promote inflammation and damage your brain. So increased weight also adds to the vary. If you're going through menopause or perimenopause or anything like that, it adds to that. It is associated with reduced blood flow to the brain, which may explain the correlation with Alzheimer's disease. The higher the BMI or basal metabolic index, the lower the blood flow to 5 regions of the brain that are especially vulnerable in Alzheimer's disease. So weight hurts the brain, so we must care for our brain. So it can be scary in knowing these facts, but it's nice to know these facts in order to fix the facts.
Face the fears and face the facts.
Yeah.
I like what you said about, you know, making decisions about, I guess, your diet or your food choices that you make when you lack sleep, or like when your brain is not in optimal condition.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Like, can you expand on that?
So just when you're not using your brain optimally.
Yeah, yes. Like your decisions in your food choices, for example.
Okay. So when you're not using proper food choices, you're not having the proper nutrition that can feed your brain in order for it to function well. Yeah. Right. So if you start off your day, say day A, you have a cinnamon bun, right? It's that increased rush of sugar. Yes, it's going to wake you up. Yes, it feeds you for the moment, but you have those drops, because sugar is not going to sustain you. It's going to have a huge rise and a huge fall. So then sugar is worse than addiction. Sugar is huge. So the more sugar that you feed your body, you're going to have wanting more and more. But if you start day B, say, eggs and, fruit and things like that, that's going to sustain you longer with that sugar, that natural instead of sugar, then you're going to make better decisions because your body's going to feel better. you're going to have a lot more energy. Okay.
Yeah.
So it does, and that can carry you through. Then you're not, what I kind of learned is there's 4 things or 5 things that you should have in control every day. So there's sleep. Sleep starts with 7 to 9 hours at night, right? Your mood is another one. And that one is, you know, how you handle stress and things like that. Your hunger cues, which has direct correlation with your cravings, okay? Your energy. How are you through the day? Are you brain fog, or you have the afternoon slump? Okay. And so it's a and then, yeah, I did cravings as well. So it's a correlation. It's an acronym called SHMEC: sleep, hunger, mood, energy, and cravings. If those 5 things are in control, then you're going to have less temptation to crave. And I go through these too. There's sometimes where I'm not as keen on what I'm doing, and then all of a sudden, oh, I'm craving chocolate, or I'm craving whatever. You know, I go through these things as well, but I have to kind of post them. And as long as I'm following those 5 steps, sleep, hunger, mood, energy, and cravings, then you're going to be able to make better decisions, because you're consciously, and it'll take a while. I mean, you know, it took a while for all your health to be unhealthy if you're in that state. So it's going to take a while to get you back into that healthy state as well. So forgive yourself if you have those bad days, but if you follow those five tips. Does that kind of help answer that?
There's something, oh, sorry, Imie, there's something you had said also about social connections as related to brain health. And I really liked we had started to share a little bit about that. So if you'd like to expand some on that. Sure. As well.
Sure. So I was talking about the 4-circle approach that is necessary in order to assess where you are in terms of your health, and how to take a balanced, comprehensive approach to healing. So the first is your biological. This is how your physical body functions, like your hardware or your supercomputer, okay? Second is your psychological. This is how we think and we talk to ourselves, the running dialogue that runs in our head all the time. Plus our self-concept, our body image, past traumas, overall upbringing, and any significant event that has happened in our life. Our third is our social connections, like you were saying, Charlotte. These are current relationships and events in our lives. The health and habits of the people you spend time with have a dramatic impact on your own health and habits. And then number 4 is your spiritual health. So we're all spiritual beings, whether you go to a faith community or you don't. We're all spiritual beings, but we're more than our bodies, our minds, and social connections. So there's some questions we were asking in terms of the spiritual connections, spiritual health, is what does my life mean? What is my purpose? Why am I here? What are my values? Do I believe in God or a higher power? And how does that manifest in my life? So when you take those 4 areas and you start kind of looking at, you know, maybe what's happened in the past, or what's happened in the what's happening right now, and how does that correlate to the decisions that I'm making, then we can kind of start putting things together and saying, okay, where am I falling aside? Where am I not making my best decisions? And then from there we can start moving forward. Because going back to biological, yeah, I mean, are you dealing with a past illness, or you know, how are your thoughts? Dr. Imie always talks about the ants, the automatic negative thoughts that keep running in your head. So, you know, for instance, if you're in a state right now where you're trying to lose weight, you might have those thoughts like, oh, I can never lose weight. I can never lose weight. Okay, so is that thought true? How do I know it's true? And so you start writing down those thoughts. That's the best thing to do. When you have those negative thoughts, write it down. And then you turn it to the opposite. So if I didn't have that thought, how would I feel? So you always want to turn that thought to the opposite, and then say, how would I be if I didn't have that thought? Does that make sense? Because those thoughts are lies. Thoughts are lies. Okay. So if we can get hold of those thoughts, and that's the biggest thing when I talk about in my program, 90 Days to a Better You, I first talk about the mindset, because the mindset is huge and it has a huge correlation of how we're going to start and get healthy. They always have to start with the mind first, how our thoughts, how their past events, which leads to the second one of how we talk and think, that running dialogue in our head. Are we going to allow that running dialogue to control our lives? Or are we going to get it out of the way and start moving forward, right? Which leads then to social connections. Those people around us, our loved ones, our spouse, our friends, our coworkers, how is their direct impact impacting our own health? Are they tempting us to make bad decisions, right? And then on the end, our spiritual health. How do we take that time for ourselves? Our self-care is huge in order to move forward. So that's kind of the compassing of those four. We go into further detail in the program of, you know, when you talk about these 4 areas, what are the things that we can do to kind of complement these areas? But those are kind of the 4 areas in summary of you know, what to look at.
Awesome. That's incredible. So Imie, would you like to add something, or we can move on to questions from the other attendees after that as well?
I just have one question. So if I'm trying to lose weight, what should I do? Like, how should I keep my brain healthy, or what should I do as far as that connection between my brain and losing weight?
Okay.
Or so, what are the 3 things that I need to keep in mind?
The decisions that you make every day, right? So what are you doing that can hurt your brain? And it doesn't mean like drastic things like no drugs and smoking and that kind of stuff. It could be as simple as, what are the foods you're putting into your mouth? What are the thoughts that you're thinking? So that's the first thing, is evaluating the things that you're doing that could be hurting your brain. Mm-hmm. But then giving you praise, what are the things that you're doing that are helping your brain? Okay. Are you going for walks every day? Are you getting your 7 to 9 hours of sleep? Are you drinking enough water every day?
Okay. So is that, so walking and drinking water is that helping my brain?
Absolutely. In terms of drinking water, you take your weight, divide it in half, and that's how many ounces that you should be drinking a day, based on what your weight is.
At least.
At least. But you got to be careful, because there is something that's called water toxicity, is drinking way too much water. Yeah. So you got to drink it in a moderation, right? And then the third thing is falling in love with the health of your brain, knowing why. Like, a lot of us will see the wrinkles on our face. We'll see maybe an extra roll around our waist, and we know, okay, I need to do this and this and this. But not a lot of us think about the health of our brain and what's inside. And if we can't see it, then we don't know that there is actually trouble brewing in there. So that's why it's, in terms of falling in love with the health of your brain, knowing what your numbers are. So knowing where you are with your weight, your BMI, your blood work is very important. Your sugar level, like, are you diabetic, things like that, because that has a correlation. So those are kind of the 3 main ones, in that doing that regularly, having the regular checkups with your doctor, making sure that your doctor is knowing where you are in your health. Is there extra supplements maybe you can take, you know, because we're not always taking what we need every day in terms of fruits and vegetables. So that's another big bonus that we can take into our diet, is the supplements, right?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. So are there some questions from people who are on the call? And we have some people watching live. We usually stop at 8, but we decided that today, for people who are interested, and I'm sure you are, unless you have a time constraint, we can go past the 8 o'clock to continue discussing this. So who here would like to add comment, question about what we've been discussing? Pratty.
Hi, Karla.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. I'm Prati. I'm in Australia, so it's evening here. Good morning to you. I was wondering, so to calm your brain, or if you don't know, like, I think most of the people sometimes don't even recognize that they have an issue, as you said, like it's necessary to first even know that you have an issue instead of thinking like, okay, I have like an extra, I'm having extra weight, or I just have a flab, or I never used to, I don't have a period, I need to go and run. I think that's the natural way of thinking. But most of the people don't even know they have an issue. Do you think like a regime, like a meditation or something, can at least give them a calm approach to start with?
A medication? To
Meditation.
Oh, meditation. Absolutely. Absolutely. When you, I mean, I've started when COVID first started, right? I mean, as I said initially, I'm a registered nurse. So I actually became unemployed at COVID, believe it or not, a nurse. And so it was stressful, as it was frustrating, but I had my time, my period to get frustrated, but then I started journaling, and journaling is a form of meditation where you get your thoughts out, where you are at that moment, and to meditate. And that's a form of healing, of moving forward. When you can start dealing with your thoughts in your mind, and nobody needs to know it, you write it down. Yeah. But then in the flop side is I started writing down 3 things that I was grateful for. Yeah. And that helped me kind of be positive for that day to, okay, these are 3 things I'm hopeful for, or I'm grateful for, and 3 things I'm going to do today to benefit my actual day. It doesn't have nothing to do with exercise or food, but if that's the place where they need to start, or where their thoughts and emotions are, then that's the best start.
Yeah, because I mean, some regimes could be like conscious regimes, like journaling and all that, and that's, I think I give a lot of importance to journaling. I agree, and that's very conscious regime. But if people can just, I think, incorporate subconscious regimes that they don't even know they're doing, that can probably keep them healthy. Like just and meditation is probably a subconscious regime, or just making your bed. I think when you said like it has nothing to do with your mind or your body, but you just make your, like, you know, trick your mind, making your bed. I think I've heard that it helps a lot to build a subconscious regime. And the day you forget to make your bed kind of tells you that you're not okay today. Like that's right. How,
That's right. Yeah, it could be simple as making your bed, putting away your clothes, tidying up the newspapers on the table, you know, something simple like that, of just getting into that daily routine of doing something, then that will help you. Do that
as a trigger. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's really interesting. It's something that I came to because I'm a scientist by trade, and I really was never very interested in makeup and all of the things that a lot of us women do, that I just found was a waste of time. And recently I came to peace with it, because I realized I was watching my husband. He does energy healing, and while I was doing my facial care and my body care to get ready for my meetings, my husband was doing his energy healing, and we were doing the same gestures. We were touching the same parts of our, you know, there was some similar gestures between, and I thought maybe women have been wise. Maybe women have been wise, and they've been doing a lot of facial and body care, but it's actually, you know, it looks like it's nothing, but it's actually, you are doing something. You're doing the same gestures over different points of your body that might make a difference. So maybe women have been taking care of their brain health. Anyway, as a scientist, that helped me make peace with the whole makeup routine thing. So that made me think of that. Are there any other questions or comments from people who are on the call here? And I'm watching as well. We have people live, but they're not saying anything right now. I'd love to hear from Roxanne or Rena or Catherine. What do you think? I'm sure you're thinking something in your brain about all of this.
Yes. Hi, good morning. Yes, this is super interesting. I'm sure. Can I just a quick question, comment. This, very interesting. I wait to watch it back again. I have learned, took some notes. What you were saying earlier about the 5 aspects, the sleep, mood, energy, do those 5 of them, craves, I think I missed one of them. Those all kind of have to work hand in hand. It's kind of like the basics away, where one of those is off, you know, it can affect all of them, or are those, you know, kind of the necessities of what we should really be working on?
Yeah.
You know,
so
every day. I know right away for sleep, I am terrible sleep. I heard I need 6 hours, and I work on getting that. So the 7-9, that's always been a challenge for me.
Yeah.
I'm able to function my day with less sleep, I think, over time, but perhaps when I look at the other aspects that goes with it, perhaps already not getting enough sleep is setting my other thing off. Could those all sort of work in line with each other?
Yes, they all correlate
I guess
together.
that's my
So
question.
it's sleep, hunger,
It's
mood,
important to have
energy,
all
cravings.
5 working properly.
Yeah, you all, and that's okay. I mean, you're gonna have, like I said, your bad days, but just always be in tune of like writing down, okay, how was my sleep? How was my hunger today? And evaluating kind of at the end of the day, because if we don't evaluate, we don't know where we've gone wrong, right? And then we can try again the next day. Next day is another reset, right? Think of every day as a reset, and it's fine, right? But sleep, hunger, mood, energy, and cravings, yes, we all have to have them in balance, because if they're not in balance, something's going to go off and you're going to fall off. But that's okay, keep going, right?
Tomorrow's another day. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Everything's so interesting.
Rena?
Good morning. So I'm just wondering, how long will it take for those imbalance to affect your life?
That's very individual to the person. So it all depends in regards to any conditions that you have. Maybe you have sleep apnea, or you have just insomnia, you're going through menopause, and it all depends on that actual individual, right? But just, I mean, journaling how you're doing. I mean, it's kind of a hard question to ask, because everybody is different. I sleep very well, but then sometimes my cravings are off, right? And so it all depends on how conscious you are in doing it every day. Like a habit takes, what they say, 21 days to become a habit. So, I mean, keep going every day, evaluating yourself in the morning, wake up. How was my sleep last night? How was my mood, or, hunger, energy, cravings? Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying that it's very important to assess that.
Assess it. Yeah. Because you don't know, like, same thing as in knowing about where you are with your weight. You don't know where to go if you're not keep evaluating how you are. How we have weight check-ins, or you're measuring your body, things like that. We have to keep evaluating how we are in those 5 areas in order to know, okay, if my sleep I only had 5 hours sleep last night, my energy, my cravings are going to be huge today, right? And so you just keep evaluating those every day. It shouldn't take long. Once you kind of are consciously doing it and you're in a habit of doing it, then you're going to find you're feeling much better. But in terms of the actual length, that would be hard to assess.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
There are lots of information actually that I've been taking notes, because I know
there's oodles. Like I was talking to Imie and Charlotte the other day, and there's oodles of information I share. I mean, this is just tidbits, just tipping the tip of the iceberg. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's actually, so if there's more questions, we can continue with some more questions. I'm still checking the live. Perhaps what I'm understanding is that you offer actually a program to maybe take a couple minutes to share about that. And then I've taken a couple notes, so I'm going to share those at the end about how some of the things we've been talking about come together. But I'd like to hear a little bit about what you have to offer us, or how we can connect with you, or what's the next step if someone wants to know more.
Okay, perfect. So my short version of my program, I have a longer version, but this is a short one. It's a Best of You in 90 Days program. And right now I am offering 50% off plus 2 freebies with it. Module 1, there's 3 modules with it. Module 1 is your key to success is a healthy mindset. So we talk about the ants. We talk about, setting goals. How to move forward. What are your thoughts, and how is that impacting your health journey? Number 2, we talk all about smart eating. What's a brain healthy food? How to eat consciously, being aware of what you're eating, your cravings. How to read labels when you go into the grocery store. What do those labels mean? And being aware what's actually in your food. And then number 3, the module 3, is exercise strategies for maximum results. So I'm not a runner. So for me to say everybody needs to run, that may not be something that's going to work for you. Okay, I'm a walker. I love walking. But again, that may not be something that everybody else wants to do. So you have to find exercises that are going to be good for you. And I have lots of options, lots of suggestions. So we're going to be doing that, as well as why exercise is important and how to, and also with exercise, especially because we're dealing with the brain health, there's also brain health exercises. And that is because we have to exercise the brain in order to have it keep working. So we're going to talk about the brain healthy exercises in terms of, there's lots of apps you can do, and there's brain games that you can do on that are feeding your brain in different ways in the different areas of your brain. So we'll talk about that in there. And the 2 freebies that I'm offering with it is 11 foods, successful foods that help fight off viruses, colds, and flus as we're going into our flu season. Okay, that's the one, the immune busting foods. The second one is how to healthily heal your body from stopping the five most common cravings. So that's the two free guides that I'm offering with that, and I can post that later in the group. How to reach out to me. You can find me on Facebook under Radically Transform Coaching. You can also reach out to me by email at carla@trainthebrainsolutions.ca. Those are two ways that you can reach out to me. My website is under construction, but it is also trainthebrainsolutions.ca is what my website is, and I can post that into the chat.
Great. So are there any last question or comment before I have just a couple notes to share about this before we leave? So yes, Imie, you're muted.
I just want to summarize what we learned today from what Karla has shared. So basically the decisions that we make as far as weight loss and the things that we want to do to try to lose weight is really dependent upon the health of our brain. So for example, if we haven't had enough sleep, or our brain is unhealthy, then we struggle losing weight because we don't make the right decisions.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So the whole idea is to make sure that we actually work on keeping our brain healthy so we can make the right decision and actually do the things that will transform us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's very important over anything that you do. Sleep is the number one, because if you don't have proper sleep, your brain isn't able to restore, repair, and maintain for the next day. It needs that 7 to 9 hours to recharge, to restore, to maintain, to get going. You think of yourself, when you get only 5 hours of sleep, how are you in the morning? You're exhausted. You're like, oh, I want to go back to bed. And then you're just pulling for anything that you want to eat. And then your mood, you're kind of on edge. You're upset with everybody around you, or you just short fuse. Versus if you get that 7 to 9 hours sleep, you get a day, you get to sleep in, you're like on fire in the morning. Your energy, you're like, okay, and you're thinking better because you're going to pull out like, a healthy breakfast. You might go for a walk or a run or exercise or just read or, so it's such a difference. So overall, sleep is the most important.
excellent.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So to sum up on my side from the notes that I was taking, some of the things you're suggesting that are very simple that people can start right now is basic care, like drinking water and eating healthy food, checking our habits, watching our thoughts. Journaling is very simple to start as well. Gratitude, like gratitude journaling as well. And what I liked is that you said every day is a reset. So we can start today after this call. We can start every day after the breakfast, the morning call. And what I also liked is that what you're bringing out with the social connections, having a relation to the health of our brain, is I see here there are resources to help us with our brain health. You have a program for us that you can really teach us some specific things. Rena actually creates healthy food for people's cravings. That's the word that she usually uses because she's helping people eat what they crave, but healthy foods. Prati actually teaches meditation. I know she taught meditation in the past, and she's creating teas that can help us, relax. Roxana hasn't introduced herself yet, but she has lots of different services to help us have less toxins in our body. So that's good for our brain, right?
Yeah.
And Catherine has the only healthy chocolate on the planet. So Imie can teach us how to sell and get our businesses growing once we have a healthy brain,
That's right. Absolutely.
Or she can compensate for the non-healthiness of our brain at the moment with her awesome tips. And I can connect you to people for maybe the other things that can help with your brain health. So I found that was awesome because it brings everything together in one, a very important topic that we never talk about or think about.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for the interview. Be on the call tomorrow morning. And next Wednesday, if you're on the call, you might be interviewed. So be there.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you so much for accepting, and have a great day. Thank you, everybody. Bye.